we actually did about $40,000 in collected cash. We did $100,000 in revenue off of a brand new Instagram account just from posting for 60 days. Guys, if you just listen to what I'm about to say, you are gonna save a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of headache, and a lot of heartache from just learning from the mistake that I made when I started this challenge to begin with. All right, we're doing this thing. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Welcome to officially the very first episode of the Content, Coffee, and Communication podcast. I have a cup of coffee right here that we'll be sipping on throughout the episode, and probably not a ton of people are going to notice this, but a couple weeks ago, I officially launched this podcast under a completely different name. The original idea of this was going to be like impact over income, and I do still enjoy that concept, but after I made that episode, I found I was trying to like mold everything that I was trying to do into the name, as opposed to the opposite of like, the name shouldn't be like, yeah, it's important, but I was just like way overthinking it. And I was like, this actually is just way more aligned in what I'm trying to do. And I just love talking about content and I love talking about communication and sales. So let's just run with that. And that is the official name of the podcast. And I promise I'm not changing it anymore after that. So with this official first episode, I just wanted to lay the land a little bit of what you can expect from this podcast. I'm going to keep it super, super brief. There's going to be two different types of episodes here. Number one is just going to be me sitting here talking to you guys about some sort of concept when it comes to social media, video, personal branding, just really everything across those lines. And then also sales, a huge part of what I've spent my life's mission on over the last 3 or 4 years is just getting good at sales, getting good at communication. And I think it's really lacking in this space of content creation. Like a lot of people focus on, hey, let's make really cool videos and that'd be the end of it. But if you have a product and you can't sell that, even if you have a personal brand, like personal branding makes your job way easier on the sales side. But if you can't convert people into clients, you're literally just doing content and creating content as a part-time job. Like you'll never be able to do it full-time if you can't figure out how to turn your followers into dollars, right? Your followers into, into clients of yours. And, that might sound kind of negative, but at the end of the day, like if you have a product that you can actually help people build, if you have a product that will actually like help people and make their life better, then it's almost your obligation to put together those, those communities and those programs that actually help those people. So all that stuff out of the way, one of two different types of episodes, me just chatting with you, have my notes over here with my iPad. And then also I'll be doing interview-based shows where we're talking to other pros in the industry when it comes to content, maybe on the coffee side. And then also chatting with people when it comes to communication and sales along those lines. So in this episode, what I want to do is really talk about one of the fundamental things when it comes to starting a personal brand, starting video. And, it's not, I'll just be straight up, it's not flashy. It's not like, here's a hack or an algorithm hashtag strategy that you can use to go viral and get a ton of views. That's not what we're going to talk about. But if you take what I teach you and talk about in this episode, you're going to save yourself a lot of time, a lot of heartache, or not heartache, a lot of headache, a lot of time and money and resources, to be honest with you. Because from this mistake, and I'll tell you the story of how I came along this mistake and what I learned from it, is I realized for about a month and a half period that I wasn't generating views and revenue for the business and sales because I had basically neglected this first part of it and not taken it as seriously as I should have. So learn from my mistakes. I'm going to give you everything that you need by the end of this video and by the end of this podcast. You're going to have everything you need to understand, do you understand your audience? Are you, creating the right content? Are you doing the right things in order to cultivate and create an audience that can then convert down the line into the sales? And we're going to cover all that in this video. So the first thing, I'm going to break down the story of mine. And this was, if you didn't watch the first episode of this podcast, is I talked about my 60-day journey of posting every day on social media for 60 days. And we actually did about $40,000 in collected cash. We did $100,000 in revenue off of a brand new Instagram account just from posting for 60 days. Now, a really big mistake that I had made was within the first about month or so was focusing on the wrong things. So here's how I not only made the mistake, but also how I figured out that I was making the mistake in the first place. So I went through a couple different programs and, people were talking about, hey, get clear with your audience. And that was kind of it. Like they didn't really go too deep into what you need to do in order to do that, right? Get clear with the audience. So all I did was I pulled up my phone, went up to TikTok and Instagram, and I looked at other people that were in my niche. To give you some context, this specific offer is around remote closing. So remote closing equals basically becoming a salesperson for another person's high-ticket company and then just taking the calls for them and getting paid to do that. We have a program where we teach people how to do that. It's $9,800. 16-week program. We come in, we basically teach them everything that they need to know in terms of sales. We connect them with some of our B2B clients and they can sell for. And then at the end of the day, it fits in the make money online category. Now, the thing with the make money online category, a couple different things. Number one is there's a lot of different ways you can make money online, right? There's Amazon FBA, there's drop shipping, there's affiliate marketing, there's remote closing, there's creating YouTube, YouTube automation, AI channels, right? There's so many different ways, creating a digital marketing agency. There's so many ways that you can create money online. So what I did was I went to that niche on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok, and I was looking at what those people were doing. And I was like, okay, well, our thing technically fits into the make money online category. Let me just look what these people are doing and then emulate that. And, as I'm explaining this, it's like I should have seen this coming as I was doing it. But as I was doing that, what I was finding is that a lot of the content that was being created in this make money online niche fit a couple different categories. Number one, it's definitely male dominated, right? There's a bunch of dudes that are in this niche. Number two is that a lot of the people that were doing this skewed super or younger, right? I'm 28. I guess I technically classify myself as younger, whatever. But I'm talking like 17, 18, 19-year-old dudes that were creating this make money online content. And it's also done in this it's in a very negative way where they're like, if you want to make $50,000 a month, then you just need to do this, right? And they just try to make it as, this really simple thing. So again, based on certain advice that I got, they told me hey, just do what they're doing, right? Follow what they're doing. They're seeing success with it. So, do it. The other thing that was kind of on top of that is we run a lot of paid advertising, and that way of doing things, right? Talking about here's how you can make money and really talking about the opportunity is it works for paid advertising, but paid advertising it's so different because you can target specific people, specific demographics, specific age ranges. And that's really what helped us on that side. So if we had not originally seen success in the ad stuff, I probably wouldn't double down on it, but it just made sense to me because we had seen success with that through the paid advertising. So for literally the first 30 days of the 60-day challenge, I tripled down on every day posting content like I was seeing other people doing. And from an overall standpoint of followers and views and things like that, it did seem like it was working. Don't get me wrong, it was working from a view standpoint. On a brand new account, I was averaging 4,000 to 5,000 views on every single post, right? The goal wasn't necessarily, and still isn't, to go crazy viral, because I think going viral could hurt you in a lot of different ways, especially if you don't have the system to handle all the leads that come through. If you do have a post that goes viral, that's a whole other conversation for another day. But in those 30 days, all the metrics that I was seeing was pretty good. I was like, yeah, this is good. We're getting leads coming through. I think we had made one sale in those first 30 days. And I was just slowly seeing it work out. And then after the 30 days, I was like, we're getting a good amount of leads. Our setters, our appointment setters are having a lot of conversations in the DMs, right? I'm physically having conversations with a lot of people in the DMs. We're setting sales calls, but they just weren't closing. So after those 30 days, I was like, let me look a little bit deeper into what we're doing and how these conversations are going, both from conversations I was having as well as my sales team. And what we were realizing was there were just a lot of young people, right? It was the average age was probably 17, 18, 19 years old. Now, I'm not saying that we can't help that demographic, right? The younger people, but just a lot of times, especially when it comes to a $10,000 investment, a lot of times they don't have the money. They don't have the pain of let's say working a day job, and then we can, leverage the pain of them wanting to get out of that day job. It's they're coming out of high school, right? And they've never had a job. So they don't really have the pain of needing to do remote closing because they just didn't have the pain, right? And if you know anything about sales, if there's no pain, there's no sale. So I was just really thinking about it. I was we're generating so many people, relatively speaking, right, on a brand new account. We're just not converting anyone over. So I went back to the drawing board and I was like, okay, how many phone calls, how many conversations are we having, and what's like the age range of these people? And like I said, it was ranging from like 17, 18, 19 was the average. There was some people that skewed a little bit higher. And it was like 98% female. I'm sorry, male. Like 98% male. And it makes sense, right? Because it's, I'm a dude and I'm going to attract people that are like me. But the problem that I realized was that I'm trying to compete with all these people in this make money online niche that are a lot younger. They have more time than I do, right? All they do is create content. They're getting in front of this younger audience that is hungry to make a change, but our program is just on the higher end. It's more premium. And just those people don't really resonate with me and my story, right? I have 4 kids. I worked multiple jobs before. I had a business before. I was a remote closer. And it's just this overall story, it just didn't translate over into them turning into a client. So what I did after those 30 days, so it took me probably about 45 days into it to make a change that I was going to ditch the make money online stuff and go 100% into just teaching people how to do sales. Now that goes completely against what we talked about from, on the advertising side. But what happened was I was able to, the quality of the audience was way better because I wasn't starting every video of like, here's how to make $50,000 a month, right? Older people, they know that that's not super possible, right? Like $50,000 in your first month. Younger people, they're like, oh yeah, cool. I can make $70,000 a month. It's going to be really easy. But once I started being more honest with people, once I started, it's not that I was being dishonest, right? It's not that I was like lying to people. I was just using hooks and content that was working well in these other industries. So again, when I made that change, when I made the switch, that's when all the sales came through and the sales team was happier. The quantity of leads and like the amount of followers that I was gaining was lower, but overall the conversion rate was much higher, right? The conversations were way better. And just basically everything across the board got better from a revenue standpoint, a cash standpoint, from a follower quality standpoint, from a team morale standpoint, because they weren't talking to a bunch of kids that were broke. And that's really kind of a long story short to show you how important it is to be super dialed in with the audience. So now moving forward, all the content, I wouldn't say all, I would say about 90% of the content, out of every 10 posts, 9 of those posts are around sales, and the other one is around something that's a little bit more broad to bring a new audience in. Because sales, at the end of the day, like no one really wakes up saying like, hey, I want to be a salesperson, other than like current salespeople. So the idea is just to broaden it out a little bit by having 1 or 2 posts out of 10 that do reach a larger audience. So I kind of talked on that a little bit longer than I wanted to, but hopefully that story drives home how important it is to find the audience. So going into the solution here of like, if you're in that same situation, whether you're not gaining the right people or you're not having the right traction or you're not, having communications with people that are like your ideal clients, there's a couple things that you can do. So first things first is you got to ask yourself, like, what is the overall goal with your content and your social media? And I know that sounds super cliche and super broad, but it's so important because the end goal of what you're looking to do is going to 100% dictate the types of content that you create. Not only from like a content pillar standpoint, but also like how you create the content, the backgrounds that you use, the way that you speak, right? There's just each demographic, each audience that you're trying to attract is going to make you create a different piece of content to make sure that it sees success. So for me personally, right, the goal is to create a high quality audience of people that will buy our sales coaching program, right? So I'm asking you this question that's watching this. Is your goal views, right? Do you want to just get a ton of views on videos? Is your goal followers? Or is your goal the same as mine, and that's to make money and create a high quality audience? Because what's going to happen is, based on that answer, right, views, followers, or the higher quality audience is going to dictate which type of content that you make. For example, if you're just like, hey, Aaron, like I don't want to sell a product, I just want to be an influencer and I need to get a ton of views and a ton of followers. You can like double down on like really broad content that doesn't even introduce your personality. Like you can just have videos that are the 3-second loops, right? It has the captions on screen that has something really vague, says read the caption, right? Those are just way easier to go viral because it's smaller, smaller time commitment for the viewer, right? They go through the content because they're reading the caption or they're reading the text that's on screen. It loops and that equals more views, right? But it's just not going to yield a high quality audience, as opposed to, the videos that I create now are very much so like straight to the camera. I'm talking about a specific sales tip or something. And when they digest that content and they get to the end to the call to action or whatever, they're making very conscious effort that they're like, okay, I want to learn more about sales. I want to learn how I can turn this into a profession. Let me go down the rabbit hole of Aaron stuff. And then when I have a CTA or when they go to my link in bio, the quality of the person is so much better. So that's what I would just ask you to do is figure out, okay, what is your goal? So, if I had to give a couple examples, and I know I have a lot of realtors that follow me on my personal pages. So for example, if you're a realtor, videos that do really, really well are going to be videos that talk about high price point homes, right? If you think of, Brad McCallum is a good example. I've had some interaction with him. He was on an old podcast that I had, but his YouTube channel is massive, and he does a good amount of business from his YouTube channel. But his audience is very broad because he has these like extravagant houses that he shows on his YouTube channel. Maybe a better example, because Brad's a realtor. I don't think Eric Conover, I think that's what his name is. Eric Conover. He's pretty big on the YouTube space. I think he has like couple 100,000 subs, but he just goes around everywhere and he travels the world basically and showcases houses. But the thing is I'm sure he makes a ton of money, and he does referral deals and how he makes money. But in the grand scheme, not every single person that he brings in is going to transact with him, right? He just has a larger audience that's going to bring more people to him. Now, the direct example of that is, let's say, a local realtor that has like 500 subs on their local YouTube channel that's doing an extra 2 to 3 transactions a month because they're just super hyper focused on them. They don't care about views. They don't care about all that stuff. They just care about the right people finding their video and then that person reaching out to them to transact. You see what I mean? So it's just when you can get really, really clear with what your goal is, then it's then going to help you figure out a really solid content plan that you're going to be happy with, and that's also going to give you the results that you're looking for. That's the other reason you got to get super clear with your goal, is that if you don't know what the end goal is, you're always going to be chasing something. You're going to be chasing, you won't even know what you're chasing, and you just feel like you're in this constant loop because you don't know where you're going. You know what I mean? So that's the first thing that I would say. So once you are super clear with your overall goal, and you're, for the sake of this, I'm just going to say, because I'm, course creator, like we have a business and we're trying to generate business from this. What I would do, and the way that you want to do it, is doing research based on that specific audience. So actually, for those of you that are listening on the audio app, if you're on Spotify or whatever, definitely go over to YouTube, and that'll be down in the show notes, because I'm going to do a screen recording on my phone really quickly and physically show you how I would do some research on TikTok to find the types of content that I would be looking for. So what you're going to do is you're going to open up TikTok, and guys, this is just going to be the easiest way for you to do this. So let's just say that for sake of example, I'll show you like my strategy of how I try to find content. But let's just say you're a mom and you want to show the lifestyle of being a mom. Maybe that's your idea. So what you're going to do is, I always like searching hashtags. So I would just search hashtag mom life is one I'm sure has a good amount of views and subs and things like that, or followers or people creating content. So I'm going to go to hashtag mom life. I'm going to go at the top here. I'm going to go to videos. And then from here, I'm going to go to the top right and these little 3 dots. I'm going to go to filter. I'm going to go to sort by like count. And then I'm going to do date posted. You can either do this month or the last 3 months. So let's just do this month and see what pops up. And what we're doing here is we're looking to see what's currently working within the last month or the last 3 months, what's currently working in getting engagement in this specific niche. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll through here. And this is a great example, because there's a ton on here that are just that are crushing it. But what I would also do is I would pull up a spreadsheet and just literally put in the spreadsheet, put link to TikTok, likes, views, and that's it. And then I would just put that on a spreadsheet. And then what you want to do is you want to look at this content. Now, again, getting very clear with what you want to sell. Let's say you have, in this example, let's say you have a course around teaching moms how to be more productive. That's just, I don't even know if that's a thing. I'm sure it is. There's a course for literally everything. But what I'm going to do is start looking at these videos. So let's just look at this first one. So motherhood summarized in one moment. So looks like put some socks on. Wait, she took a sock.
You literally took the socks off my feet.
And okay, so she needed some socks, so she just took them for. So this could, my marketing brain is like, this obviously relates to a lot of women. Like I can't really relate with it. I think I understand what they're saying. But another mom, right, might look at this, and the way that this can be spun is, you know, this is viral. This goes viral. And let's say she has like this mom has a productivity course. Actually, let's just go to her profile and see what's up. You know, a bit of everything without making myself too seriously. So it doesn't look like it. But it's like, you know, in this example, this mom is like super busy. Okay, cool. So the mom's busy. How do we become more productive? And then maybe there's a productivity course. So this would be a piece of content that could work really well, right? And then if we look at, let's say this one right here, my kids and I are hungry, but there's only 2 donuts left. So this is a great example of, this is something that goes viral, but it's probably not something that's going to translate into someone that like maybe it's relatable. Like obviously it has 2.8 million likes. Depending on my goal, if I was like, okay, I just want to get a ton of followers, yeah, I'd probably recreate this, right? Because it's proven to go viral. But you got to think of the audience in mind that you want to be coming to your profile. Hopefully this is all checking out. Let's do a couple other examples. So this one right here. So this one, again, probably not as much into that. Let me see if I can find like a direct, okay, boom, right here. So 1.5 million likes. When my kid catches me Googling was an adverb while helping with homework. So, you know, maybe there's like, this could tie back to maybe the mom has like a homeschooling program, right? Because this would be like directly related to that specific thing. So I know I'm making some like far-fetched examples here, but hopefully it's just like putting the pieces together for you of how to think about this whole content creation thing. So yeah, so then I'll just give you some examples of what I do. So if I'm looking for sales content, I'm just going to look up one thing that I do is like hashtag sales. And then I'll look and see what's up here. So like sales talk, sales psychology. So let's just do sales. And then what we'll do, again, top 3 lines. We're going to go to filters. We're going to go to like count this month. And we're going to see what's going on. So it looks like a lot of this stuff is going to be more like not even around sales specifically, but more like comedy. So maybe we do hashtag objection handling. And then we're going to go to videos. We're going to go to filter. We're going to go to this month, like count, and apply. So let's check it out and see what we got on her. So not a ton this month. So this is a great example of like sometimes these niches aren't going to have a ton of content, and these people might not be like a ton of likes and a ton of views, but these are people that are very, like if someone's searching up objection handling, they're like in that mode of like, I need to handle an objection. I need to learn how to do this. Right. So like, but here's a great example. I'm going to do make money online. Make money online. And I'm going to do videos, 3 dots, filters, like counts, and this month. Now, I can guarantee there's going to be a lot more. Yeah, okay, perfect. So 300,000, 278,000, 77,000. So here we go. So let's see. I make $10,000 a month from my lazy girl job. So if this were me, right, if I wanted to create this, I would say, you know, I'll write this down to my sheet, and then when it comes recording time, I would just make a video that's like, I make, insert my income from my lazy guy job. And then I would just create a piece of content around that. And then just, you know, I can create a whole other video about like content creation. This is more of like getting clear with your audience and then just like very light ideation of finding different ideas. But, you know, hopefully you can see, and it looks like this one is heavily dominated by my girls. So yeah, so again, hopefully hopefully all that makes sense. And, you know, that just gives you some ideas of some general ideation. Now, another thing that I have, you know, that I wrote down that I think is also really important is a general rule of thumb when you're creating this stuff is you have to also take into consideration, like I just mentioned there, in terms of the, you know, being heavily dominated, you know, moms or not in that one specifically, not moms, but girls, right? Females, is you have to look at the aesthetics of the video. You have to look at the lighting on the video. You have to look at, you know, and really look at that video and think, what type of audience is this probably generating? And sometimes you don't even have to guess. You can just go to the video, go to the comments, and then look at the profiles of the people that are on there. Because another like massive epiphany and thing that I realized is the way that and I'll throw up a couple of examples, is the videos that I basically was making from even up to this point. Like I made this realization just even a couple weeks ago, is I wanted to make something that's a little bit more all-encompassing in terms of the look and feel of the video. So for example, I built out this set recently that's a lot more light, or has a lot more light. There's more color. It's just lighter in general, like in the background. But again, I'll throw up those examples on screen, is you can see that the lighting was very dark. The background, I had neon lights. But what does that usually represent, or what type of audience does that probably generate? It's going to generate a lot of dudes. It's going to generate a lot of younger dudes, right? And you know, the thing is if you think about, okay, what is the background of, you know, a lot of neon lights and dark atmospheres? Gamer boys, right? Like even my younger brother, I know he literally has like LED lights around his entire room, and it's just like it's such a dude thing, right? So what's happening, or what was happening, is because there were so many, like we just saw so many people from a male, you know, younger guy standpoint coming through the funnel. I was like, how do I open this up to where, because when someone's scrolling on social media, right, the first thing they're going to look at is, the first thing they see is the video. And if the setting is off and they don't resonate with, you know, super dark video, light only on my face, neon lights in the background, I'm not even going to get a word out and they're swiping by. As opposed to, I feel like this setup is much more catered to kind of like a agnostic look, right? Anyone I think could enjoy this look, unless you're a super young dude that just wants to see a bunch of neon lights in the background and that like lives in a cave, right? But I feel like this just it portrays much more of like a friendly vibe than it does before. It was like a very like grungy, dark atmosphere. So I've been doing a lot of research and a lot of just like my own, digging in terms of like psychology of lighting and video and colors and things like that. So just know that as I'm creating these videos, I'm also learning things on a daily basis. So that's basically it when it comes to finding your ideal audience or figuring out the audience. Hopefully this opened up a couple different ideas for you and just maybe some things that you hadn't thought about. I do think, like I said, if you spend some time on figuring out what the audience you're trying to attract is, going to TikTok, going to YouTube, going to all these other social platforms and seeing what's already working for the people that you're trying to attract. What's working for the other creators that are trying to attract the same audience as you, what's already working for them. And don't recreate the wheel. Like literally go out there. Like almost all of my videos, I'd say in that 60-day challenge, out of the 60 videos, 45 to 50 of them were just emulated from somebody else, right? There's a book out there called Steal Like an Artist. I forgot the author, but Steal Like an Artist. And it basically just talks about how no matter what you do in life, no matter what like realm you're trying to go into, whatever niche you're in, is you'll never see an original idea, right? All content out there is just regurgitated, like maybe it's one thought or an entire thought process from somebody else. So I don't like to do that. I do like to see an idea, figure out how I can turn it into my own, and then present it, as opposed to just like straight ripping stuff up. So stealing like an artist, taking what's already there, changing it, adding your own flair to it, and then putting it out into the marketplace and seeing how it works. So yeah, do some work on that. Do some research for yourself and see what types of videos are going to work best for you. and go from there. So in the next episode of this, I'm not 100% sure if we're going to have a guest or not. If we're going to do, maybe I just do another one of these and sitting down and talking. Let me know down in the comments. If you've made it this far to this video, let me know down in the comments if you're on YouTube and watching the video version, what your questions are. What do you want to learn when it comes to social media? I have a ton of ideas that are written down on some spreadsheets over here. That's, I have probably 30 to 40 ideas, but obviously if there's something that you think that you would benefit from seeing me talk about, and again, I've spent a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of energy on just like really figuring out this content game for the last 16 years. It's been a ride. So hopefully all that makes sense. If you have any questions, definitely let me know down in the comments. Go ahead and subscribe if you want to get notified and turn on notifications to see every new video that we put out here on the channel. And we'll see you guys on the next episode of Content, Coffee, and Communication.